Falcons decided to shock the NFL world when they took Michael Penix Jr. with the number 8 overall pick in this year's NFL draft. It came to a shock to everyone, except for, of course, the Atlanta Falcons general manager. But everyone was shocked by this, honestly. And it started a lot of discourse on social media. I saw people saying this is an absolute W, this is an absolute tragedy. And then you have me, who's simply in the middle of this. Hi, I'm Stephen Connor, and this is Sports Talk with Stephen Connor. If you love sports, this channel is for you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, and also hit that post notification bell. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So, this came as to a shock to many of people because the Atlanta Falcons had a wonderful offseason, and they capped it off by signing Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal. He is their quarterback. He will be the starting quarterback when the season starts. It is no doubt about that. However, you usually don't sign a quarterback to a 4-year, $180 million deal and then go draft a quarterback with your first pick in the draft. Like, this wasn't the second pick they had. Nope, the number 8 pick was their first pick. You don't go and do stuff like that. You honestly don't. So it shocked him, and they let him know, like, hey, we're drafting the quarterback, but still, that's a shocker. You're like, hey, what? That's crazy. Why? And I think one of the reasons why they drafted him is because, number one, Kirk Cousins is coming off of a torn ACL. And I just want to say real quick that Kirk Cousins by far is no scrub. I think this is good for Michael Penix Jr. because he gets to sit and learn from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is not a scrub. Kirk Cousins may only have one playoff win to his name, but if you want a good regular season, you want a chance to make the play, you want to make the playoffs, you don't want to win the playoffs, man. I mean, you're not going to win, but you're going to get there. And that's what Kirk Cousins does. That's what he provides you. He provides you with an outstanding regular season. For 8 straight years, he has thrown for 25 or more touchdowns, except for this year because he was injured, unfortunately. But for 8 straight seasons, 25 plus touchdowns. That's impressive. And like I said, he's a really good regular season quarterback. And because he's so good of a regular season quarterback, you might not get the opportunity to draft a quarterback who you think could be a franchise quarterback, who you think could succeed again. And that's another reason why I think they took this opportunity. Another reason why is because, like I said, Kirk Cousins is 36 years old. He just tore his ACL. Even though he signed a 4-year contract, not that many people think he will live up and play all 4 years of that contract. He might get cut, traded. It depends on how well he plays as well. And so you want somebody ready who you believe you could get trained up and ready. Who knows? He could be the next Patrick Mahomes for all we know. Michael Penix Jr. I want to share with you real quick, though. Michael Penix Jr. stats in college. So this past season, his last year, he threw for 4,903 yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns. Altogether, for his 2 years of Washington, he threw for 9,544 yards, 67 TDs, 19 picks, and 7 rushing touchdowns. And not only did he do all that, his last year as well, he led them to an undefeated regular season, won the Pac-12, made it all the way to the national championship, lost but made it, and then he came in second place in Heisman voting, and a lot of people thought he got robbed of the Heisman as well, because Michael Penix Jr. is no scrub. I didn't expect him to go this high, but that doesn't mean he's a scrub. That doesn't mean he's terrible. He's far from terrible. He has such a bright upside. He was the best thrower to me in the whole draft out of all the QBs. He had the best accuracy. He was the best thrower. I really do believe that. And then you have also injuries. Like I said, Kirk Cousins just came off of a torn ACL. Last year, you had all these injured quarterbacks in the NFL. Almost every team had to play their backup due to somebody getting hurt. And that's a real possibility. So, of course, you'll have someone like Michael Penix there who's hopefully is able to play and step in well. One of the reasons why people are concerned also about this Michael Penix Jr. trade is because Kirk Cousins' deal is 4 years. Let's say he plays 3 years, because that's what I think will end up happening. Let's say he plays at least 3 years. Michael Penix Jr. is currently 23 years old. He will be at least 26, 27 around that time. if he will be older, and not only will he be older, but he has a list of injuries as well, and not minor injuries. He didn't just play for the University of Washington, he also played for the University of Indiana. He played there for 4 years, had 4,000 total yards. He started 17 games, but every single year ended with a major injury. He tore his ACL twice. He dislocated his shoulder, and then he separated the AC joint in his shoulder as well. Now, all of those ended his season early at the University of Indiana. So you take into account that he might not play in 3 years, and he's going to be older, and he's injury prone. However, this has worked in the past, particularly with the Green Bay Packers. But that's a long-term thing for 3 years. However, look at, for example, San Francisco with Brock Purdy, and then you look at when all the QBs went down, they got hurt, and he had to step in. And look at him now. Took them to the NFC Championship game, and then they made it to the Super Bowl. If something happens to Kirk Cousins, maybe that could be Michael Penix Jr. Or maybe they just keep Kirk Cousins for 1 year. I doubt that will happen. And like they did with Alex Smith, but Alex Smith was there for a long period of time, for a few years before that. And they drafted Patrick Mahomes, let him sit, learn, and look at what happened with Patrick Mahomes. He might finish as the greatest quarterback of all time, at least finish top 3. And then you look at the Green Bay Packers, who did the 3-year thing. They drafted Jordan Love, even though Aaron Rodgers was not a scrub. And they didn't tell Aaron Rodgers, but they told Kirk Cousins they was drafting Michael Penix Jr. But they go and draft Jordan Love, and he sits behind Rodgers for 3 years. Of course, Aaron Rodgers had to miss a couple of games, and Jordan Love stepped in then. But still, Jordan Love's first full season, he was very productive in the NFL. And not only did he do that, but he took the Packers to the divisional round, and they almost beat their arch nemesis, the San Francisco 49ers, and they blew out the Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs. Then you you backtrack to the Green Bay Packers again when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, and they drafted Aaron Rodgers without telling Brett Favre, and then Brett Favre played for 3 more years for them, then got left for the Jets, and then Aaron Rodgers stepped in. I mean, look at what he turned out to be. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer when he retires. Now, the difference between these is, number one, they didn't inform Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers that, hey, we're drafting your replacement. And then also they drafted them in the 20s, not with number 8 or anything like that. They were drafted in the 20s. So, with all that being said, I get understand the concerns. I understand why people are nervous. They could have spent this pick on other things. But the main reason why I believe the Falcons did this, like I said, the main reasons is, number one, Kirk Cousins. They want to contend with Kirk Cousins because that division is absolutely weak. I think they're the favorites right now to win the division, in my opinion. However, that division is weak, and they want to contend now. However, they want to contend after Kirk Cousins is gone. They want to have a successor for Kirk Cousins, and that's what they're trying to do. They have lots of weapons for Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. Number 2, like I said, Kirk Cousins is up there in age. He's 36. 4 years away from 40. He just came off of a torn ACL. You don't know what you're expecting from him, and you don't know if he's going to stay all 4 years or not. So, like I said, you need a successor. Number 3, injuries. The NFL last year had so many injuries. You need a backup quarterback who will come in ready to play. Another quarterback who I just thought about, who I just remembered, was Justin Herbert. He didn't play his first 2 games or first game, and then Tyrod Taylor got hurt, and he stepped in and he led the league in a blaze. He left it on fire. So those are the reasons why I think that they drafted him. I think they drafted him because they don't think they're going to get the opportunity to draft a quarterback that they really like him again, because Kirk Cousins is a great regular season QB. You're not going to get this pick. It's no lottery like the NBA. I think they did it for injury concerns and to be safe, just in case something happens to Kirk Cousins. And because they liked him. Let's be real. They wouldn't have drafted him if they didn't believe in him. They see something, they liked him, Michael Penix Jr., and they believe that he is the future of the franchise. Like I said, they want to contend now for a Super Bowl, and they want to contend later. And they don't want to be like the Los Angeles Rams, who sacrificed to win the Super Bowl now and got rid of all their picks, and now look at them. They're not going to be able to rebuild properly, or not even rebuild, translate that success to the next quarterback. Guess why? Because they only traded up. They only did all this stuff, traded away their picks for short-time success. The Falcons do not want short-time success. They want to contend now, and they want to contend in the future. And they felt like this was their best opportunity to do so. You let me know how you feel down in the comment section down below, whether or not you think this is the best move the Falcons could have made. Until next time, y'all, be good people. Steven Counter out. Peace.